Faceless grind, I'm paving my lane. Me 2 times, yeah, we changing the game. Elevate me to you, vibe is brand new. Built it from scratch, now we teaching you. Hit that sub, let the vision come true. This ain't just content, it's what we do.
Welcome to part 6 of the Build Your Brand series. Today we're focusing on social media design, creating posts and visuals that help your brand show up consistently across platforms. We're going to walk through designing a Facebook cover that fits and converts, creating a Facebook ad that actually gets clicks, laying out a strong Instagram post in Canva, and how to download, publish, and schedule your designs easily. By the end of this session, you'll be ready to show up with strategy, not just random posts. Let's get into it. Before people scroll your feed, they usually land on your profile, and that means your Facebook cover photo needs to communicate something clearly and quickly. In this section, we'll walk through how to choose the right layout, how to size it for all devices, and how to make sure it reflects your brand even if you're just starting out.
In this lecture, I am going to show you how to create a Facebook cover. Now, Facebook covers have always been a little bit tricky to design because their dimensions are changing regularly, but also, and most importantly, because they have slightly different dimensions on mobile and when you look at them from a desktop computer, or a laptop computer, from a computer in general. So knowing that, we need to be conscious of these different dimensions and apply certain rules to our visuals, to our design, so they look good both on mobile and on a computer. So knowing this, our first, I would say, instinct would be to go to the social media part of Canva here, like the types of documents, scroll down and see the Facebook types of documents and just go for a Facebook cover, which dimension is 1640 by 924 pixels. Now, if I open such a document, I can see that the height of the Facebook cover is very big, and it's way bigger than what we will see on a regular Facebook page. So this is Fairtrade Connections Facebook page, and you can see that the visual here is not as high, like the height of the visual is not at all similar to this huge height here on the page. So I am actually not going to be using the preset document that Canva has for me. I'm going to go back to the home page and I'm going to use a custom size document, okay? So I'm going to keep the same width, so 1640, but for the height of my document, I'm going to type in 720, make sure I am in pixel, and click on create a new design. So now Canva will create a document that looks more like a Facebook cover to me. And I do have a bunch of different templates here that I could use as well. But this time I'm not going to start from a template. I'm going to start from scratch. And I'm going to keep it simple, okay? I've been observing different Facebook pages. For example, one of them was IKEA. Okay, so I went to the IKEA page, filter by pages. Yes, I went to IKEA because it's a huge company and I wanted to see how big companies do it. So this is their cover. As you can see, there is a simple sentence at the center of the visual, and this looks good both on a computer, but also I checked on my mobile phone and it looks very centered and enough spacing, enough padding on each of the side of this sentence. I do have a sentence which is approximately the same length. This is also why I was inspired by this photo. So a single photo or visual that looks pretty cool here, and a sentence which is centered in the middle, more or less, of the visual. So let's go ahead and create something similar for our Facebook cover. Okay, so let me come back to my design right here. One of the things that I also learned from doing some research, but also trying and failing and trying again, is that some safe zone will apply, okay? So I'm going to first design this blank canvas with some guides, but also some rectangles that kind of set the boundaries for my safe zone here. So the first thing you will notice is that I have turned on the rulers and the guides. So in order to do this, go to your File button right here and click on show rulers and then show guides. If you have a little check mark here, it means they are already activated, and you see them here. You see the rulers, and I can grab and create a guide. Okay, so what I've learned is that on each of the sides, there is a kind of like a part of the design. So let's create a rectangle. I'm going to click on the R key in my keyboard and create a rectangle. So on this side of the visual and on the other side as well, there is a zone which is 180 pixels wide. Okay, so my rectangle, you can see, I can see the width of my rectangle here. I want it to be 180. So it's hard for me to do it at this level of zoom. So I'm going to zoom in simply like this with my sliders, my zoom slider here. And now I need to snap this at 180 exactly. Okay, it is now 180 pixel wide. I'm going to Command C, Command V, this rectangle. Okay, and I'm going to zoom back in. So I'm going to fit and make sure this is snapped to the extreme right part of my design. Okay, so these two columns here, these two parts of my design are not going to be very visible on mobile at all. So you won't see this bit of the image from your mobile because the mobile screen is kind of brought back to the center of the screen, so you won't see this part on a mobile. All right, so I'm going to give these rectangles a specific color from my brand style guide. So going back to the brand style guide, let's select, for example, this blue right here. I'm going to copy the hex code, come back to my design, and you know what? I'm going to bring my style guide very close to my design here. And then click on the color button and create a new color, paste the hex code, and there you go, I have my blue here. Okay, I'm going to paste that with the copy style button to this other rectangle. Perfect. Now, maybe I can add a text box here that says only visible on desktop. Okay, and this is actually 180 pixel wide. Okay, so this text right here is just indicating that this part of my design is only visible on desktop. This is going to be useful, trust me, bear with me here, because at the end of the lecture, you will have this guide that you will keep in your Canva document that will help you create your future Facebook covers, because a Facebook cover is bound to be changed from time to time. So what I'm doing now is that I'm grabbing from my ruler to grab a guide, and I'm going to snap it exactly at 180. You see here on top, it says 180 pixels. So that's great. And I will do the same right here at 1460. But I know that there are 180 pixels until the end of my designs here. Okay, so when I create a new page, you will see these guides visible as well on the second page, which is great. Now, there is also kind of like a special zone at the top and at the bottom of this Facebook cover that will only be visible on mobile to make things a little bit more complicated, right? So, and these bars are going to be, let me Command C and Command V, this bar right here again, and I'm going to bring it up. And the height of this bar, let me change the color as well for some purple. So the height of this, oops, I moved my guide without wanting to move it. So let me just move this out of the way for now. And I'm going to stretch it all the way to here. So I was saying the height of this should be 48 pixels. Okay, so I'm trying to get to 48. Again, same problem, I need to zoom in. So there we go, zooming in, and now going for my 48. In there. Okay, 48, can now zoom back to fit. All right, so I will give this a bit of transparency so we can see the other one, like let's say 70. Perfect, so we can see the intersection here. And I'm going to copy this text box, stretch it, okay, and like so. So only visible on mobile this time, and this is 48 pixels high. Great. Maybe I can bold the dimensions so it's easier to see. So for that, I'm just selecting that part of the text and pressing my Command B for bold. Yeah, I'm a big fan of the keyboard shortcuts. So again, selecting 48 pixels high and then Command B or Control B to bold things. All right, so I'm going to copy this rectangle here. So I'm going to this time hold my Option key down. I believe on a PC is your Alt key. So you hold it down and you grab, and that will duplicate the element. Okay, and now all I have to do is to bring a new guide here and a new guide here, and we are good to go. So this here in the middle is your safe mobile and desktop zone. So here, everything within this zone right here is basically safe, both on mobile and on desktop. Okay, phew. Now that I know that, look at this, I have my guides. I am ready to design my Facebook cover. So first, I'm going to rename my document. So this is my Facebook cover, Fairtrade Connection 2022. Okay, perfect. You can rename your document whatever you like, but if you, like me, created this template, I would suggest you name this Facebook cover template, for example. Okay, perfect. Now, I'm going to start designing. Like I said, I'm going to keep it simple. I'm going to have a sentence in the middle and then a photo, a well-curated photo. We have a lot of photos. That's one of our strengths with Fairtrade Connection because we were actually taking photos. So I believe we sit on 5,000 different photos that we've taken. We are selling photos also with Fairtrade Connections. So indeed, it is a big advantage that we have. We have all of these beautiful photos. So I went ahead and found the perfect photo for this cover. I will show it to you in a moment. But first, let's deal with the text, the sentence. Okay, so I'm going to press my T key one more time, create a text box. And this time, I'm going to go for my fonts from my brand style guide. So again, the main font is Railway Heavy. So I'm going to press on Railway Heavy here. And I'm going to have it on size 48. Okay, size 48. I'm going to make sure this is in the middle of the page, like so. And I'm going to start typing my tagline here, which is bringing you the artisan's stories. Bringing you the artisan stories. Okay. So this is what I will have in the middle of my page. I can see some nice padding on both sides, kind of like the IKEA visual. Let's go back to the IKEA visual. Yep, it's kind of similar. This sentence is slightly shorter, but it's going to be fine. There's not going to be any issue with that. So this is my tagline. Now, all I need to do is to go to my elements, find a grid. Okay. Going to apply the grid to my entire visual right here. And now I can go to my uploads and I will show you the photo I selected. So I decided to work with this photo of Diana in the streets of Dhaka. And she is like with her camera, she is taking a photo. There is some nice movement, blurry movement in the background. Really like this photo. So this is going to work very well. The only problem is that if I have my sentence in black here, it's difficult to read. It's not legible, and I really want people to immediately understand what this photo is all about. So I need to make this sentence more legible. So one way of doing this is to apply a background effect. I'm a big fan of the new background effect. This is a relatively new feature in Canva. So I'm going to click on the text first and then on effect. Okay, effects. I'm going to go for the background effect. And this is what you will have as a, I would say, as a default. You might have a different color. I'm not sure why Canva is showing you this bright yellow color. Might be so that it's very easy to read. But what I will do, two things. First, I will get rid of the roundness. I want this to be like a straight edge rectangle. And second, I'm going to change this color for one of my brand colors, obviously. So going back to my style guide, I'm going to try this this dominant fuchsia color first. So Control C here to copy the hex code and back to my visual. And I'm going to change it by creating a new document color. There we go. And now I need to change the color of my text. So it's not here. This is the effect of my text. To change the color of my text, I will go to the top nav bar here and click on text color. And I'm going to make this text white. Okay, now I have this, which is pretty cool, but I would love to see a little bit of the camera behind the text. So I'm going back to my effects, and I can add some transparency with my last slider right here. You see, I can add some transparency to this background. I'm gonna go for, let's say 80, because I still want quite a bit of color, but I also want to be able to see what's behind. So there we go. I think I'm pretty much set with this. If I look at the safe zone, let's collapse the object panel for now to have a really good look at what's inside the safe zone. So I do have the entirety of the bicycle rickshaw here. Like this is the back, this is the seat of the rickshaw, you see, and I have almost everything inside the safe zone. So that's good. I have the people here in the background. I have Diana, obviously, all the way to her forearms here. So this is probably going to work really well both on mobile and desktop. All right, there is only one way of knowing if it works or not, is to download this page number 2. Okay, so I'll rename this Facebook cover 2022 and try it. Like I will upload this to Fairtrade Connections Facebook page and see how it looks both from my computer. Then we'll switch over to my mobile phone and see how it looks there. So to download your visual, just click on the download button, okay? And then I will choose PNG. For the size, I will leave it as such. I will not compress anything. I will just make sure I am downloading page 2 only. I don't need my guide. Okay, click on done and then download. And there you go. Canva has downloaded my visual, and I am going to click on that visual right here that has been downloaded, show in Finder. I will grab this and put this on my desktop for now. Okay, and close this window, close this window, close this window as well. Okay, so let's go back to Facebook and change the Facebook cover of Fairtrade Connections. So I will click on Fairtrade Connections page. There we go, and I will edit this cover. Okay, upload a photo from my desktop, yes, and I will upload the photo I just created. There. At this point, Facebook asks you if you want to drag to reposition your photo. I will not change it because it should look good like so. So I'm just going to click on Save Changes, and I'm going to refresh the page. So this is how it looks on my desktop computer. It looks pretty good to me. I like that we are matching the color of the logo here, the avatar, with the background behind my text. I love the framing of everything as well. I have the people there, I have the rickshaw, I have Diana here in the middle, kind of like on this lower third of the image. So it looks great on desktop. All right, so we've seen that this cover looks great on Facebook when I look at it from my computer, right? But of course, the ultimate test would be to look at it from a smartphone, okay? So let's do that. I'm just gonna grab my phone and I'm gonna go to Facebook and find Fairtrade Connections Facebook page. Okay, so I'm gonna go to my pages, find Fairtrade Connection right here, and see how this profile picture looks from a mobile. So there we go. We see that the cover looks great. I have everything in it. Nothing is cropped. And I also have enough space to the left and to the right of my text box. So I think we did a pretty good job here with these dimensions. So that's it, guys, really. If you want to have a look at this visual in real life, you can head over to Fairtrade Connections Facebook page and have a look for yourself. And that's it for this lecture. In the next one, we will be designing a Facebook ad. Woohoo!
Let's move into ad design. Your Facebook ad has to grab attention, stop the scroll, and get people to take action fast. In this section, I'll show you how to build a clean, high-contrast design using Canva that looks good on mobile and feels aligned with your content or offer.
Welcome back to the course, guys. In this lecture, we are going to continue creating our social media visual content. And in this one, we are going to create a Facebook ad. Okay, so one of the things about Facebook ads is that they need to catch people's attention. It needs to be super catchy, meaning high contrast, a lot of colors, big bold titles, and limit the amount of text that you will have on your ad. And also, you need to somehow have a call to action. So people need to understand what to do when they are exposed to your ad, because you will be paying money to Facebook to put this message in front of an audience, and you need that audience to take an action. So make sure you know what it is that you want your audience to do. So let's start this project, and we are going to use one more time the social media icon here in the header of the homepage. So I'm going to click on that, scroll down a bit, and locate my Facebook section right here. I'm going to click on Facebook ad. Okay, dimensions are 1200 pixels by 628. So I'm going to create from scratch. Oh, and I forget to mention, for this specific project, I am using my Canva Pro account because I feel like for my ad, and yet I'm going to be paying money for running this ad. And full disclaimer, I'm not going to run the ad in real life, but I needed more choices in the photos I will be sourcing. And you will see why in a minute. So that's why I'm using my Pro account. Also, I'm again going to be using the background remover. And yes, you would have guessed it by now, I'm really addicted to the background remover. So for me, when I have to work without it, it's really painful. But there's always ways around it. Of course, if you follow this course and you have a free account, you can follow every step of the way. You'll just have to skip the background remover part, or you can use the website remove.bg like I showed you in the previous lecture. Okay, so let's start our project. I have a template that inspired me here. I'm not going to be using the template per se and transforming that one template, but I'm going to recreate a similar layout, I would say. So I'm duplicating my page from the get-go. I'm creating a new page, and I'm going to be using the first page here on top as my main project, and the page here at the bottom, I'm going to be loading this template right here. This one caught my eye in the templates when I was browsing for some templates. So from the templates tab right here, it caught my eye, and therefore I thought, okay, if I was attracted to this template, then probably my audience on Facebook will also be attracted to this template. So what is it on this template that makes it eye-catching, right? So I tried to ask myself, what is it? And I realized it's the big bold title, it's the lady without a background, and it's the nice gradient background that we have here. So I'm going to try to reproduce something similar, but with my own content, okay? So let's go ahead and do that. The first thing I need is obviously a photo. Okay, so I have uploaded already a photo right here. So I'm going to load it here so you can discover it. So this is Mandira, and Mandira is from Kathmandu, Nepal. She works for an organization called Get Paper Industries. And Get Paper Industries produce all sorts of paper sheets and paper products. So we interviewed her back in 2017 or 2016, don't remember exactly. But I do have a video about Mandira, and let me introduce you to one of the key concepts that we were working with while working with Fair Trade Connection. And this key concept was to be using QR codes to tell the story of the artisans. Okay, so here I have a YouTube playlist of about 19 videos, and they are all telling short stories. You see, it's like a minute and 20 seconds, a minute and 7 seconds. So all of these short videos are actually showing a snippet of different people's lives in different countries, and they are all working on fair trade products, okay? So the concept that we developed with Fairtrade Connection is that the Fairtrade product could have a QR code on their label, on their packaging, that consumers could scan with their smartphone to access the story of the person who actually made the product they are holding in their hand, they have purchased. So this is what I want to do with this Facebook ad. I want to create an ad to motivate people to scan a QR code to discover Mandira's story. Okay, and so the QR code will have this URL right here, which is the URL of my YouTube video. Okay, let's go back to our design right here. The first thing I will do is to run the background remover on this image. We see a little bit of Mandira's hand right here. I don't need that. Actually, only need this part of the photo, but I want to get rid of the background. Okay, so with my photo selected, I'm gonna go to Edit Image, and then Background Remover. Okay, this is what happened. The hand is gone, but it's okay. I'm gonna reduce this photo here to very close to Mandira's head and shoulder here. We can see a little bit cut out here, but it's fine because you will see in a second, this is where I'm going to position the QR code. Okay, I've clicked on Apply, and now I have this photo right here. I can use it as I wish. So what I'm going to do is to position Mandira here in the corner, so we are not bothered by the fact that this part of her body has been cut out. And I'm going to stretch it all the way to the top of my page right here. So I have a big image right here of Mandira. So this is good. This is pretty much the same dimensions, occupies the same space on my canvas, on my document, as the image right here with the lady holding her computer. So this is good. I like that it's approximately a third of this canvas. So I'm pretty good with this. Maybe I can move her slightly this way. So I have pretty much, yeah, 1/3. Okay, let's leave it here for now. Next, I'm gonna start working with my text. So again here, let me turn them off to show you really what happened here. I want to be working with the rulers and guides, okay? So by default, you won't see them. It will be like so, but here, if I want to activate them, I'm gonna click on File and then Show Rulers, and then File again, Show Guides, okay? Now I have my rulers here, and I can bring in some guides by clicking and dragging. You know that by now, okay? So what I'm going to do is to position a guide based on the text that I have here on my second image, on my template, okay? Because I kind of like this alignment. So I'm going to be using that on the design that I'm creating. Sorry, and bringing another guide on this page right here. What's going on? So again, bringing a guide from here. Yes, this time it works. And positioning it right on top of my text right here. So I can have these marks to actually see where to position my text when I will be creating it, which is right now. Okay, so creating a text box. Usually I would just press my T key on my keyboard, but I want to show you an alternative way, a longer way. You just go to your text tab right here and then choose like any of these three text category. Let's add a heading. Okay, so railway heavy in 56. This is good. I'm gonna have like all caps, just like here, and I'm gonna make this big. Okay, so the first part will say scan. Yes, let's make this, let's say 110, like really big. Scan, and I'm gonna justify this to the left and snap it here against my guide. Okay, so scan. I'm going to copy this text box, Command C, Command V, and bring it here. Scan. Okay, and then one more, Command C, Command V. Scan the code. Scan the code. Okay, I have scanned the code. What I can do, because I see I have not much space left here at the bottom, I could actually make so that my text is touching the guide, which is not the case here. I still have like quite a bit of white here. So I'm going to select all of this text and bring it up so it touches the guide. And next thing I need to do is to make sure I have the same amount of spacing between each of these text boxes. So for that, I select them all, the 3 of them. I go to my position button and I space them evenly vertically. You see this one moves slightly. It was barely noticeable, but there was a slight difference. Okay, I have scan the code, which is good. Scan the code, and then I will have the last part of my call to action here underneath, like in smaller letters. So let's go ahead and maybe add a railway thin. That would be too thin, so maybe railway normal. Let's find railway, yes, here. Scan the code. Yep, this is going to be good. Scan the code, and I'll continue to work in all caps. So I'm going to use my all caps uppercase button here. And I will probably need to reduce the size of this text, but let's first type in what I need as my text. So the text needs to be to hear Mandira's story. To hear Mandira's story. Okay, yeah, this is quite big. So I'm gonna have to reduce this, let's say 22 for now. And we'll see if it's too small or not big enough. And we can always adjust that later, but I want to add one more thing to this design, which is a little icon right here of a hand scanning a QR code. So let's try to find this under the Elements tab. So I'm going to click on the Elements tab, and you see, this is why I wanted to use my Pro account, because for these types of searches, for elements and photos, like the choice is quite limited with the free version of Canva, especially for graphics like this. So scanning a QR code. This is what I want, and I want a graphic. Okay, so something like this is good. Let's see more like this. So I'm gonna hover over this graphic, this icon, and use the 3 little dot button. And I want to tell Canva to show me more like this. So see more like this. Now I have a series of QR codes here that I can use. I like this one, it's kind of bold. So I'm gonna use this one. See, it's a Pro graphic. So I'm gonna bring it here, scale it down, and use that here, somewhere here. And I'm gonna push this a little bit closer. Okay, scan the code. Let me see how far I can go down here. So let me bring another guide and see how far they went with their ad and see where I am. Okay, so this is not too bad. I can probably push this one down a bit and this one slightly as well. So it is still centered. Scan the code to hear Mandira's story. Okay, this is looking pretty good, guys. We are making some good progress. I feel like at this stage, I could probably go ahead and create the QR code. So let's go ahead and do this. So first I need to grab my YouTube video's URL. So it is right here. I'm gonna copy that simply here and back to my design. The good thing is that Canva, and this is good for Canva free users, Canva Pro users. Canva has a QR code generator built in the app, okay? So it's here. But let me close it. I want to show you where it is if it's not here by default, because by default it won't be there. So you click on the 3 little dots, like the More button in the object panel, and you will find your QR code right here. Okay, so click on that and then paste your URL and generate a code. Okay, so at this stage, I just want to make sure the QR code that Canva generated for me is actually working. So I'm going to scan it with my phone. So from my phone, I'm just going to use my QR code scanner, which is built in my app, and point it at my QR code and see what happens. So I see it's opening YouTube, which is already a good sign. And yeah, how fair trade changed Mandira's life. All right, perfect. I see Mandira on my phone. This means the QR code is working. Okay, so back to our design here. Now that we know that this is working, I can confidently work with this QR code. My goal is to place it somewhere around here. Okay, something like so. Yep, something like that. So I can leave it here for now. I think this size is pretty good. I don't need to go any bigger than that. Or maybe I can even place it here. No, let's place it here. Okay, so I want to hide a little bit this part of Mandira's body because it looks cut out. So I want to position this QR code in such a way that you don't see. And I think I can get rid of the guides for now because I'm done working here. I've aligned all my text. But yeah, we don't really see, if I position it here, we don't really see there's a problem here. Okay, so that's actually pretty good. One thing I also want to do is to add a shape behind this QR code so it looks a little bit cleaner. You see these edges here, it's a little bit rough. So I want to go to my elements and I'm going to clear the search and I'm going to search for shape. So I'm going to click on see all and find a shape with rounded, like a square with the rounded edges. So this one, I'm going to reduce the size. So it's just a little bit bigger than the QR code, but not too big. And I'm going to position it exactly centered with the QR code behind it. And you see Canva assist me with these dotted dashed line, purple lines. So yeah, this is going to be helpful. It's showing me basically that this squared is aligned with the QR code behind it. So now I can change its color to white and push it back with the position button backwards. Okay, good. Now I have these two, I'm going to group them. Okay, so I selected them by clicking in an empty part of my design and I drag, so I select them both and I group them. Perfect. I feel like one more thing I could do is to add my logo, so the Fairtrade Connection logo in the middle of this QR code. I've read somewhere that if you cover up to 20% of a QR code, it still works. So I am going to add my logo and then I will scan this code again to see if it still works. Okay, so adding the logo. Let's add another one of these squared with the little rounded corners. I'm going to make sure this is in the middle here. I'm going to make this white. Okay, this looks good. Maybe a little bit bigger. Yep. And next I'm going to insert my Fairtrade Connection logo in here. Okay, so I'm going to search for my logo. This should be in a folder called logos. Okay, if you don't see it here in your object panel, click on the three little dot more button right here and you should see your logos right here. So it says more from Canva. I'm going to click on that and here is all the different logos I have uploaded into my brand style guide. Okay, so for this one I'm just going to be using this logo right here. So it's a PNG without a background. I'm going to make it small enough so it fits my little square that I created here. And yeah, this looks good. I'm happy with that. So again, I'm going to group everything here. So the first group with the second group that I just created, select everything and group. And now this is just one element. Perfect. So scan the code to hear Mandira's story. The code is here. I feel like we could have an arrow pointing out at the code. So going from the word code and pointing at the QR code. So let's search for an arrow. Okay, so just click on your elements and search for arrow. Yep, some nice arrows here. I will use this one. I'll change the color for now to this color. And I will need to flip this horizontally. Okay, so scan the code. This is the code. Maybe I rotate this slightly. So I could do something like that. I feel like the code will still be legible even if it's slightly touched by the arrow. Again, I will test all of that. So the arrow is coming from behind the letter and it's slightly touching the code. Okay, like so. So this looks pretty cool. Actually, I don't have to make it touch the actual code because if you remember, there is a squared around the QR code. So this could work. But here, what doesn't work is that we see the arrow through my letter. Okay, so this will work. Okay, so let's make the arrow white again because I have the intention of adding a background here, like a colored background, probably in my fuchsia colors. Okay, I think I have everything that I need here. So I'm gonna go ahead and add the background now. So in order to do this, I'm gonna clear my searches here one more time so that I can access my grid, okay? Again, I'm just going to drop my background in a grid. So I position my grid first, and now I see all my different elements. My text should probably be white. So I'm gonna select all of this text and change the color to white. Okay, so now everything is white. I need to change this icon to white as well. Okay, now I have everything white and I just need to find the perfect gradient here. So from my Elements tab, I'm gonna search for pink gradient. Pink gradient, I'm looking for something nice, something that resembles this gradient right here. Don't want to use red because this is not part of my brand colors. So this one looks cool. I'm gonna drop it into my frame here. There you go, and you see this design coming to life. I really like that, it's quite cool. This arrow, I feel like it's not really working. So maybe I can do something a little bit different. Yeah, something like that. This looks slightly better. Okay, I'm gonna keep it like so. Having an arrow on a thumbnail or in an ad is psychologically tested to be really effective. Like if you add arrows to your YouTube thumbnails, for example, people will focus where the arrow is actually pointing to. So I really like that. I like the color of this background as well, but I feel like we could probably do something to make Mandira pop out of the background a little bit more. Okay, so what could we do? We are going to try to work on the image itself and adjusting the settings. Okay, so I'm going to add a bit of brightness so that her face lights up a bit, a little bit more contrast, like so, and maybe some vibrance as well. And the highlights, slightly boosting the highlights. Okay, so her face lit up a little bit more. And then one last thing I would like to try with this image is to add a shadow and a glow around her, but a subtle one this time. So I'm going to click on the settings. This needs to be white. I just want to have this kind of halo around her, which is not too intense, but that would give my photo a little bit of an effect here. And I'm going to make this more transparent because I want this to be really subtle. Okay, so if I go too much, it's going to show really, but I want this to be really subtle, but still big enough so that I can have the impression that Mandira is popping out of the page. Okay, so I'm going to go with this. This looks good. Okay, scan the code to hear Mandira's story. Yeah, maybe the arrow can be a different color. So I'm going to change it, try different things. This green is not going to work. Black could work, but I feel like the color that would probably catch the attention the most is this green. Okay, so I need to test this QR code one more time. So let's do that. All right, so at this point, I just want to make sure the QR code is still working with this Fairtrade Connection logo right there in the middle. So again, grabbing my phone and I'm gonna go to my QR code reader, point it at the QR code, and yes, it worked like a charm, perfecto. The video is loading, so I can simply continue with my project. All right, so everything is working properly. I think we are pretty much done with this design. There's just one last thing I would like to try is to lower Mandira's photo here a little bit, push her down just a little bit so we have a bit more space for the breathing room here on top. But otherwise, I'm pretty happy with this design. I think this will make a great ad. Let me get rid of this last guide right here. All right, perfect. This is pretty much the end of the lecture. All I have to do is to download it. I'm not gonna do that now, but you can download it and then you have your Facebook ad ready to roll.
Your Instagram grid is one of your brand's first impressions. Whether you're posting content, quotes, promotions, or updates, the layout and flow matter. Let's walk through how to create an Instagram post that's both on brand and high engagement, using Canva's tools and a few strategic design choices.
Here we are again in our Canva free account. We are going to design an Instagram post, or better said, a series of Instagram posts in this lecture. So the first thing that comes to mind when I think about Instagram and the classic post format, so the 1:1 aspect ratio, is people share a lot of beautiful photos, kind of very well-polished visuals that are pretty simple by nature, but highly visual. And because with Fair Trade Connection, our business model actually consists of selling videos and photography, I kind of want to use this opportunity to showcase some of our photography work. Instagram is probably the best place to do so. We do have a Fair Trade Connection account on Instagram, and we share photos on this account. So let me quickly go to Fair Trade Connection Instagram account so I can show you what we share there. So a bunch of photos of us working behind the scenes, but also artisans and organizations we work with. Some landscape, some product, some pretty much describing our activity with Fair Trade Connection. So what we are going to do is something based on this, inspired by this, but not exactly this, okay? Because I want to show you something that you can apply to your brand, okay? So to strengthen your brand, this is very important for me that when we create visuals in Canva, and when we create them for a business, which is the case here with my nonprofit organization. So I say business, nonprofit, these terms are kind of interchangeable. But if you create content for your personal brand or for your business, I strongly recommend that you keep that consistent branding to it. So let's get started. I'm going to start obviously with an Instagram post document, and I'm going to start from scratch for this project. So here I have an idea. I want to showcase some of our good photos with Fair Trade Connection, but I would like to stand out a little bit on Instagram, okay? So one way for me that I figured to stand out is to add a frame around our photos. So let's do that. Let's start by searching for frames. So I'm going to go to my Elements tab, and then in the search box, I'm going to start searching for square frame and see what we have here. So we have classic frames like golden, texture, light effects, etc., etc. So this could work, but I kind of want to use my branded colors. So you know what? I'm going to try something with this shape right here. It's not so much a frame, but I have an idea, and I think I can use this as a frame. It says red square stamp. Okay, let's use that. What's important is that I can change the color of this square, of this shape. So I'm going to scale it up for now. It reminds me of the early days of Instagram. And I'm not a big Instagram user, so I don't know, maybe this feature still exists, but they had a filter. Don't remember what it was called, but it had like this kind of rough frame to it. It was black. And so I was using this filter a lot on my Instagram, but I'm not sure if it's still there. But this reminds me of that, okay? So I'm gonna use that. And of course, I need to make this shape one of the colors of my brand. Okay, so if you remember, I always have my brand style guide here open in another tab. So if I head over to my brand summary here, I have all of my colors here. So one way I would like to show you, like, because I'm working in my Canva free account, so there's no brand kit. I cannot click on this, click on the color and access any brand kit here. I can only have 3 colors, and I didn't even bother like adjusting these colors for fair trade connection because I have way more than 3 colors, as you can see on this brand summary here. But one trick that you can use if you want to have easy access to your colors is to simply copy all of this. So let me copy the primary colors as well. Copy all of this material from your brand style guide. So with everything selected, I'm going to go Command or Control C and then head over to my ongoing project right here. Click on the page 2 and then I will Command V or paste all of that information here. And then I can scale it up, make it centered. And now I have access to all of these colors. And if I click here and click on the color button again, you can see my documents color. All of a sudden, all of Fair Trade Connections colors are here. So this is a little hack if you don't have Canva Pro, but still want to have quick access to all of your colors. Probably one of the best ways to go. But given that you have made you've done the work of creating your brand style guide, you see how useful that is. Okay, so I now have this and I have my brand colors. Let's try this color, for example. Use my copy style button and click here to change the color of this shape to my branded color. Next, I need to put a photo in there somehow. This is not a frame, this is just a shape, but maybe I could add a frame on top of this and create like a border, an outline with the rest of that shape. So let me go back to Elements and I'm going to search for my frames here. So see all. What I'm looking for is something square. I could go for something like that, but then it starts to become like a lot of different rounded shapes and stuff. So I'm going to go for the classic one here. This one is more simple and more, I would say, standard. Okay, I will make sure it is centered in the middle of the document. And now this is what I have. So you still see the rough edges kind of shape behind my frame, but with my photo inside of it, it will seem like this design has a border, and it will definitely stand out on Insta because it will have this colorful frame around it. Okay, so what I'm doing here, I'm just adjusting, making my shape here bigger. And now I'm going to group these two shapes or these two elements. So my frame and my shape. I'm going to group that and position it center, middle. So I know for sure it is exactly in the middle of my document. And I could even scale that up a little bit more. I don't want it touching the extremities of my design because I still want to make sure we see the entirety of my green shape. So again, center, middle. Okay, I think I'm good to go with this. Now all I have to do is to add a photo inside that frame right here. So I have already uploaded a couple of photos that I liked that I want to use. The first one is this one, which is a photo we have taken in Nepal near Kathmandu of this lady right here with a beautiful smile, and she's weaving, I believe it is cotton, so cotton scarves for a fair trade organization there that we visited. So yeah, this is what I want. If I want to reframe this photo slightly, I can double click on it and then move it right or left. Yeah, but I think the framing was pretty good from the beginning. You see the lower third, the white lines that you see here on the screen, they kind of help me. And it's good to align usually the eyes on one of the thirds. Okay, so I'm trying to have this lady's right eye on one of the lower thirds, so like so. Okay, good. I'm good with this. I'm gonna click on done. And this is my first photo. One last thing I want to do is to add my logo here in this corner. So for that, I'm going to add the Fair Trade Connection logo. So if I go to my uploaded media, so right here, I can find all of my logos in different colors. So let's say I want to add this logo in white. I'm gonna scale it there for now. And next, I'm going to add a circle behind it. I want to create a circle here, maybe in a darker color, and place that logo inside of it. So creating a circle, the shortcut, the keyboard shortcut is the letter C. If I press C, I will create a circle. which is very useful. So grabbing this, and this one, I'm gonna stick it right here all the way down in the corner. About this size is good. And I'm going to be using also one of Fairtrade Connections color. I'm gonna go for black and then position this. Or you see, if you drag an image over a frame, this is what might happen. If this happens to you, simply click on the Command or Alt key, I believe, on a PC, so that it gets out of the frame. Or something else you could do is simply click on your frame. So I'm going to ungroup this. You click on your frame and then you lock it with the little padlock icon right here. And now you can move this as you want. There's no problem. It's not going to snap into that grid. Okay, I need to push this logo or bring this logo forward because I can see it's behind my circle here. So position button forward. And now it should be on top of it like so. It's too big. So let me scale it down. And I'm just going to be using Canva's assisting guide here to make sure this logo is centered in this circle, like so. Perfect. I have my first post ready for Instagram. Obviously, I can accompany this photo with a little caption. Maybe I can say what this lady is doing and where this photo was taken and who took the photo. And I can tag organizations or I can tag the photographer, which in this case is Diana, I believe. All right, so you know what? I'm gonna create a series, a short series, let's say of 3 different photos like so. So simply gonna duplicate this page. Okay, so duplicate the page. I can swap the photo for my next one. So for the next one, I think I have a very nice photo here. Oh, yeah, you see my frame is still locked, so I cannot drop anything in it. I need to unlock the frame first. So click on it, then again, the little padlock icon, you unlock your frame, and now I can drop my photo inside of it. So this one photo was taken in Peru, actually not very long after I met Diana near Cusco in Peru. So there you go. I like this framing, so I'm gonna click outside of the frame, and I'm gonna change the color of this frame. Okay, so I'm gonna click on the color button and go for something like so. And here again, changing the color of my logo here. For this one, I could go with the gray color and maybe change this logo for the black version of my logo. So finding this version of my logo, I'm gonna lock my frame so it does, like, I don't have the same problem as before of my logo snapping into it. And what I want to do here is I bring this logo so that it aligns to the bottom of it with the other one in the circle. You see this assisting purple guide? Well, this is what I'm looking for. I want this to be aligned at the bottom because now I can grab its corner and scale it down until I see this other line, this one. You see, now I know this logo is exactly the same size as this one. So I can get rid of this one, bring this one in, and again, using the guides to make sure it is centered. All right, so I could stop here, but the frame is exactly the same as this one. So if I want to give this an impression of randomness to my Instagram feed, I could try to change the position of this frame. So what I'm going to do, I'm just simply going to rotate it 90 degrees, like so. And now I have a different looking frame around this photo. It's actually the same shape, but because I rotated it, it gives this impression of randomness. So this is good. What I can do here also is to slightly reposition this photo if I want by simply using, oh, it is locked, so I need to unlock it first. But if I click on it, I can bring it up slightly. I'm doing this so it's a little bit more balanced, like the amount of space that I have in different parts of this shape. So I'm happy with this. I'm gonna move to the last one. So again, I'm gonna duplicate this one. And again, I need another photo. So this time, let's travel to Kenya. I have a nice photo from Kenya here. Yeah, this one. So there, this lady was making jewelry, earrings with feathers and metal. So I'm gonna be using that. Another color for my frame. This time let's go for my orange. This will pair well with the color of the feathers. And I'm going to change the color of this circle here for my fuchsia color. So this will kind of remind of this color right here. And this one needs to be white. So I'm going to delete this one. The first one was white already. So I'm going to copy this, Command C and Command V. And you'll see Canva will paste, and I love that about Canva. It will paste the logo at the exact right position in my circle. All right. So again, I'm going to rotate this. I'm going to keep rotating in the same direction. So 90 more degrees this way to 180. And let's see if this needs reframing a little bit. Like I'm going to push it down slightly. And there we go. Let me grid view this. We now have 3 consistent visuals with my branded colors, with my logo that I can post on my Instagram feed. Obviously, I'm not going to post my colors here, so I can probably delete the last page. But these 3 are ready to go. So I'm going to quickly export that, and then I will show you how they look once published on Instagram. All right, guys, so this is my personal Instagram account. I didn't publish them on Fairtrade Connections because it would be quite inconsistent with the style of visuals we were publishing there. Not that this is not a good style, it's just that Diana was taking care of our Fairtrade Connection Instagram account, so I don't want to interrupt the kind of aesthetic flow she had going on there. So I published them under my personal account. But this is how they look, and I think it's pretty good. It stands out definitely. So what I've done also, I have created a little bit of a caption for each of them. But yeah, it looks great, and I think it definitely will showcase your brand. Imagine that all my feed here was filled with this kind of branded color and similar looking photos. I think this really strengthened my brand identity. All right, in the next lecture, I'm going to teach you how to create an Instagram story, so stay tuned for that.
Once your design is ready, the next step is exporting it correctly. This part covers downloading your content in the right file format and publishing it where it belongs, whether that's your feed, a Facebook banner, or a scheduled post. Let me show you how to avoid the common mistakes and make sure your visuals stay sharp and professional across every platform.
Okay, who is ready to finalize a brand style guide? Raise your hand, guys. Whoop, whoop, whoop. Yes, we are almost at the end of this section. And yeah, I can see that you are excited because we are getting pretty close to it. What we have done in this section is pretty amazing. We have created an in-depth style guide for your brand. So I hope that by now you have followed along and you have created your very own brand style guide. This is a document that you will be using for months or for years to come. And if you need to make some changes, you can always come back to your Canva document and change them. You can also, if you work with clients, you can design brand style guide documents like this one for your clients. You will have a template after following this section that you can reproduce for more and more clients. This structure here is very complete, is very detailed, and any company would be happy to have such a brand style guide. Now, this being said, let's wrap it up and see how we can, 1, fix the table of content, 2, download this document as a clickable PDF. Next, we will see how we can export it as a website and use the link to share with the people in our team and anybody who needs to have access to this brand style guide. And then we'll finish by showing you how pro users, Canva Pro users, can also set up their brand kit to have all of these colors and fonts immediately available straight in the Canva editor. Okay, so let's start with fixing the table of content. Okay, so I have everything here. I have fixed already the little footers. I've done that. I spared that to you. I don't need to do this every single box in front of you. So I did this before starting to record this lecture. But what I need to do is to fix the page numbers here. Okay, the brand overview is this one right here. This is page number 5. Whoops, let me So this will be page number 5. Then we have mission and vision. This will be page number 6. Okay, the core values, this will be page number 7. Our logo, this will be page number 9. The proper use of the logo, this should be page number 13. Then we have our color palette. Let me move. This is 14. Color palette is 14. Then the typography is 16. And then imagery style, this should be 18. Whoops, 18. And then the last one, tone of voice, is 21. Okay, great. Now we have this, but it's still not clickable. If I export this document into a PDF, this won't be clickable. So what I need to do is to go one by one. So for example, this title right here, and go to my link button right here on top and use page linking. Okay, so you see the pages in this document right here, and I have all the pages here. So the history, page 3, I will just click on page 3. It will underline this. Okay, I don't need it underlined, so I can underline, but this button is now clickable. You see, it has the page 3, a link to page number 3. Okay, so I'll just do that for all the other pages right here. I'm going to speed this up as this is not super interesting. It's kind of a repetitive process. I'm just going to do it very quickly for you. All right, so now everything is being linked. I still have my underline, so what I can do is to select this, Control A to select all, and then I will click underline and then underline again, and then nothing is selected. Perfect. Now, how do I let people know that this is actually clickable? I need to create a little visual like here or so to let people know they can actually click on this table of content, because right now it's not obvious. If I just leave it like this, no one will actually know they can click on here. So for that, I'm going to be using a text box. So, okay, I'm going to click on the T key, create my text box. This is railway, this could work. So this text box is going to say items are clickable. Items are clickable. Okay, and then I need some sort of color to catch people's attention here. So I'm going to go to my elements, find a shape. Okay, so shape, see all, need this kind of like rounded edges button, like this one right here. I'm going to make it small enough, kind of like a button. And then I will drag it like so. I will select both of them and position, center, middle, perfect. Now I'm going to give this my branded color. Could either use this color or this color. It's really up to you. I'm going to stay consistent here and use this color. And my text needs to be white. Okay, so color white. I can make it bold, like so. Items are clickable. Okay, this is pretty good. I will center it with this, and I can even add a little icon here. So I will put click and search it under my elements. Click icon, I need a free one. There's lots of pro ones. I want this brand style guide to be completely free, so anybody can reproduce it. I'm going to use this one and bring it here, turn it around, something like this. Maybe turn it around a little bit more. Okay, items are clickable. Just want you to know that and to click on them. Pretty much like so. Okay, now I can group all of this together and make sure it is pretty centered and obvious. Then people can click on it. Okay, items are clickable. I think now this makes more sense and this page is ready. I finally fixed my table of content. All right, we are now ready to start publishing or downloading this brand style guide. So a couple of options are available to us. Obviously, the first one would be to simply export this brand style guide into a PDF. So if you click on the little arrow right here, it says PDF standard. That's what Canva suggests in terms of download file size, file type. But I do feel that in 2022, downloading a brand style guide as a PDF, which would probably result in a file around 10 to 15 megabytes, then what do you do with this? You have to attach it to an email, you have to put it into a Dropbox or to share it somehow with your team via Slack or whatever. It's complicated. While Canva has some better options than PDF, actually. One of them would be to publish this as a website and then simply use the link of that website to either generate a QR code or just to paste that URL into a link. And then you can send a single link to anyone that needs to have access to your brand information, your brand style guide, and they're good to go. So let me show you how that would work. Okay, so instead of using the download button, I'm going to go for the three little dots and search for website. Okay, share as a website. So if you click on that, you will have a couple of options here. Okay, so web style, you can choose between your presentation. So this will be a series of slides. You can have a scrolling website. You could have classic navigation and standard. Okay, so I will usually recommend presentation or scrolling. I think my personal favorite is scrolling. It gives it a more modern look to your website. So let's open it and see what it looks like. So this is the first page. And if I scroll down with my mouse, I can see I'm coming back to my table of content. And if I hover over these items right here in the table of content, I can see the mouse is changing from the arrow to the finger pointing, indicating these are actually clickable. So I will click on typography and yeah, I am brought to my typography. And I went ahead and did a little trick in every footer right here. I actually added a link back to my table of content. So if I click here, I go back to my table of content. Ooh, this is wonderful. All right, so just to show you that the other pages work as well, core values, there you go, core values, bring me back home, tone of voice, there you go, back home, and there you go. So basically, this is to me the best way of sharing your brand style guide. Okay, so you have a single URL. I'm going to copy it right here. I'm going to come back to Canva, and on the last page here, I'm going to add a page, and I'm going to show you. You can click on the See More, find the QR code button, paste the URL of your website, generate a code, and this single QR code right here is a link to your brand style guide. So you could very well just share this one QR code with your designer. For example, you can scan that and have your brand style guide on his or her phone. So that could be one way of sharing it. You could shorten this URL as well with a tool like Bitly. So it's really up to you, or you could just paste that into an email saying this is the link to my brand style guide, and the word link, you just add this link to it. So it's really up to you how you want to use that. I'm going to delete this last slide. But yeah, so this is what I wanted to show you. The last part of this section that I think I should mention. I'm not going to do all the work of doing it, but I will show you the final result. If I switch over to my Canva Pro account, let me do that. All right, this is now my Canva Pro account. You see the little yellow profile picture. If I head over to my brand kit, you will see that I've created a brand kit for Fairtrade Connection with all of these logos in their different orientations. And I also pasted my colors. So I have my primary colors, my neutral colors, and I have my brand fonts. So Railway Heavy, Railway Thin, and Railway. So now if I am designing something in Canva, for example, let's come back to one of the visuals of the course, and I want to change this background for my brands, my Fairtrade Connection background, I just have to switch to my brand kit here, choose the Fairtrade Connection one, and there you go. I will have my colors, my neutral colors, my primary colors, and I could add all of the colors. I believe I didn't add them all here, but I think you get the point that you will access all of these colors directly from the editor, and this is going to be super useful. Unfortunately, as a free user, you won't have access to all of this. All right, I hope this section was useful to you, and I'm really looking forward to discover all of you guys' brand style guide. So if you have taken the time to follow along and create your very own brand style guide, please share it in our Facebook community. Indeed, I am very curious to see what you came up with, and I believe getting feedback is always helpful. So in order to share your brand style guide with us, head over to our Facebook group, Learn to Design with Canva, create a post, and share your brand style guide. Also, use the hashtag Canva Master Course in your post so that it's easy for me to see all of the brand style guides. We have quite a lot of helpful designers in this community, always happy to give some feedback on your Canva design. So by all means, do not hesitate to share your brand style guide there. Congratulations on finishing section 5 of the course. You've just completed your very first big Canva project. And what you did was very important. You've created your very own brand style guide, and now you have this reference document that will help you with all the other visuals we will create together in this course. It will help you remain consistent, remain on brand with these visuals. So for that, chef kiss. Well done, guys. I am proud of you. And I will be waiting for you in the next section of the course where we will be designing visuals for social media.
That's it for part 6. Now your brand isn't just built, it's visible. You've now got the tools to design and publish across Facebook and Instagram with confidence. Next up in part 7, we're bringing motion into your content. I'll show you how to create animated social media posts, how to edit your video content right in Canva, and how to use those tools to keep your content feeling fresh and dynamic, even if you're a faceless creator. Subscribe if you haven't already. Part 7 is where it all comes together.
Faceless grind, I'm paving my lane. Me 2 times, yeah, we changing the game. Elevate me to you. Vibe is brand new. Built it from scratch, now we teaching you. Hit that sub, let the vision come true. This ain't